So आज का हमारा सेशन is about the Pakistani mindset. Actually, it's a lament about Pakistani mindset, which is namood o namaish. Not investing money on what really matters, but focusing on namood o namaish or shosha. I'll relate a very interesting incident. जब I was in US, there was in community में एक अंकल थे, उनके बेटे की शादी हो रही थी. I had newly started photography और मस्जिद में मुझे मिले तो कहते यार वो मेरी बेटी की शादी है तो तुमने कवर करनी है. मैंने कहा जी अच्छा चलें, विल टॉक अबाउट इट. फिर मुझे कम्युनिटी से पता लगा कि खाना जो है केटरिंग वो ह्यूस्टन से कर रहे हैं. अच्छा, ह्यूस्टन में बहुत सारे देसी हैं. इट्स लाइक 3.5 hours away from ऑस्टिन टेक्सास. तो जब खाना वहाँ से आता है दैट मीन्स द फैमिली स्पेंडिंग मनी ऑन द फूड. तो मुझे एक मिल के कहते हैं यार वो मेरा खर्चा बहुत हो गया है तो ना तू ऐसा कर, तू $500 में कर दे. मैं कहा अंकल आप खाना जो है वो केटरिंग आप ह्यूस्टन से करा रहे हैं, टॉप पाकिस्तानी रेस्टोरेंट से. फोटोग्राफी भी आप मुझे कह रहे हैं $500 में कर दो. तो ये मुझे तो समझ नहीं आती है क्या लॉजिक है. तो कहते हैं पुत्र गल है वे कि जे खाना चंगा ना होया तो पूरी कम्युनिटी ने गल्लां करनियां ने ते फोटोआं ते असीं आप ही वेखनियां ने. तो ओदी की गल है. पीपल विल स्पेंड, आई कोच यू के व्हाट अ नॉर्मल एक दिन की शादी का एक्सपेंस क्या होता है दैट वी कवर नॉर्मली. Average wedding, not the extreme big fat wedding, not the low end wedding. We do all kinds, लेकिन an average Pakistani wedding का जो decor है that we cover is 4 to 5 million. It goes up to 20 million. 1 million पे भी आता है, but average is 4 to 5 million just for the decor. वो टेबल, लैम्प, प्लास्टिक के फूल जो वेंडर्स उठा के घर वापस ले जाते हैं. Food is 5 to 6,000 per head. So let's say अगर 500 लोगों की wedding है तो कोई 30 लाख जो है खाने के ऊपर स्पेंड हो रहा है, कोई 40 से 50 लाख डिकोर के ऊपर स्पेंड हो रहा है. एवरेज डे मेकअप फॉर द ब्राइड इज अराउंड 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 2 से 5 लाख के बीच में. चले एवरेज आप लगा ले 3 लाख. दिस इज पर डे. एवरेज ब्राइडल लहंगा दैट इज worn आजकल की शादियों में इज ओवर 2 million. 2 million से लेके 5 million, 6 million तक का एक दिन का ब्राइडल ड्रेस है. But when it comes to photography, people will haggle over 5,000, 10,000. And it just beats my mind. How can they do that? कि एक तरफ 5 million decor, 3 million खाना, 2-3 million ड्रेस का. So 1.5 करोड़ के करीब स्पेंडिंग पर डे. इसमें ज्वेलरी शामिल नहीं है, इसमें और लवाजमात, गिफ्टिंग शिफ्टिंग, इसमें जो रोलेक्स गिफ्ट होनी है ग्रूम को वो शामिल नहीं है. So average event is 1 से 2 करोड़ के बीच में. But when it comes to photography, they're running out of budget. You have to keep it in mind that all that is left after people have eaten the food, ये भी ज़हन में रख लें, लोगों को आप खुश नहीं कर सकते. लोगों ने बातें करनी यार खाना ठंडा सी, अब मटन कम था, etc etc. So after people have eaten the food or they've wasted half a ton of food, लोग घर चले गए हैं, all that you're left with is the memories of the event, and that is through pictures. So don't skimp on that. I'm not saying that आप उसी तरह spend करें जैसे आप 1.5 से 2 करोड़ wedding पे, decor पे और खाने पे spend करें, but bring a balance to the whole thing. People will argue, people will haggle 10-10 हज़ार के पीछे, और संगीत नाइट के ऊपर they will निछावर 2-3 मिलियन ऑन द कवाल. जो कवाल हैं वो तोड़ों के तोड़े भर के पैसों के लेके जाते हैं. So let's get down to tips for hiring a good photographer. So like I said, when I was in US, I was doing family shoots पहले because I was afraid to cover a wedding. I did not have the experience. I did not want to ruin somebody's big day. So I wanted to make sure कि मेरे पास वो expertise, knowledge और working under pressure ये सारी under my belt हों before I opted for covering somebody's most special day. So when you're hiring a photographer, make sure they have the right experience. They're not novice. आजकल एक trend चला, and don't get me wrong, lots of these kids are doing wonderful jobs. Naya talent, they are very creative, very hardworking. So when you're hiring talent, you have to make sure that they have credibility, they have the experience, they have a whole process that you can follow. A wedding photography is not just about posting pictures on the Instagram. 3-4 अच्छी सारी pictures आपने color grade करके Lightroom पे आपने पेज पे लगा दी, and that's it. No, there is more to it. There's a selection process, there is editing process, there is album design process. So it's a whole process that needs to be followed to make sure जो वेडिंग डे है उस दिन काम खत्म नहीं होता हमारा, उस दिन हमारा काम शुरू होता है. सो वी स्टे विद यू फॉर द नेक्स्ट फ्यू मंथ्स. people assume कि no, एक दिन के इतने पैसे. No, it is more than that. After we cover the event, we get back to studio. उस दिन हमारा काम असल शुरू होता है. Make sure you hire somebody who has the right skill, knowledge, training. And you have two school of thoughts. एक is the new creative one और एक है old school. So you should know the kind of pictures that you want. The newer lot, they don't focus so much on the family pictures. Or I'll again quote another interesting story about the division, the dichotomy between how the elders think and how the kids think. So there was this bride and groom. They came, they finalized the pictures, they finalized the album design, and left very happy with the albums. And the next day, his mom came running, and she was like, "Oh my God, what have you done to our event? You've ruined the event. ये क्या किया, ये क्या?" मैंने कहा, "जी, what happened? Tell me." आपके बेटा बेटी तो they were very happy. They were very satisfied, and we stayed with them throughout the design process. And she said, "No, उसमें मेरे जेठ की पिक्चर नहीं है, उसमें मेरी देवरानी की पिक्चर नहीं है. आपको पता नहीं आपने मेरी जिंदगी कितनी मुश्किल कर दी." मैंने कहा, "मैम, योर फैमिली, योर किड्स जिनकी शादी थी, दे डिसाइडेड द पिक्चर्स, दे फाइनलाइज द लेआउट. इसमें हमारा क्या कसूर है?" So what I'm trying to emphasize here is that the elders want family pictures. The newer lot, they're not too keen on that. So make sure you hire somebody who handles the both the ends. You just don't want pictures for Instagram. You just don't want reels for Instagram. Album is like a family heirloom. It's going to be there for the next few generations, at least for the next 2 generations. You want to make sure that you hire a studio that is able to produce a beautiful collection of memories of that day. So the school of thought that I belong to, which is the classic, and it says that a wedding photographer is like a fly on the wall. It observes everything that happens, but it doesn't intrude. It doesn't hijack the event. They put on wide angle lenses and they kind of intrude into the moment. निकाह हो रहा है, photographers sitting bridegroom के पाँव में और नीचे से they're taking pictures of their double chins. Because सिर्फ pictures नहीं event पे उतर रही होती, उसके ऊपर videography भी हो रही होती है. And it is not just one studio that's covering. There are other studios covering as well. We'll talk more about that as well. You have to make sure that you don't hijack, you not in your face too much. You should be there, you should cover the event without becoming too obtrusive. So that's something you have to pay attention to. Or another thing is that photography is all about light. Any photographer who cannot control the light, who cannot enhance the light or modify the light is not really a photographer. 35 mm लगा के without any flash, without any strobe. I've heard complaints from other clients. They said कि हमने event कराया and they said कि आपके event पे light ही ख़राब थी, तो हम क्या करें, pictures तो ऐसी ही आई हैं. So ideally a photographer should be able to at least mitigate the lighting condition. So when you're hiring a photographer, make sure you ask them, do you bring external light? Do you have the ability to modify the light, or it is what it is? So that's one thing. Or another misconception that people have is that the more the photographers at the event, the better the pictures or the more quality content they'll get. That is hardly the case. What happens is that photographers, they compete for the best slot. If I'm trying to get an angle is side, say there will be somebody from the opposite camp trying to take a picture from the other side. तो उनके फ्रेम में मैं हूँ, मेरे फ्रेम में वो है. Ideally, you should just have 2 studios. एक from the bride side और एक from the groom side. But आजकल we noticed that in order to get viral, families are hiring 4-5 photographers and all they're doing is like wasting their money. इससे हर एक का काम खराब हो रहा है. किसी का काम अच्छा नहीं हो रहा, सबका काम खराब हो रहा है. So you have to make sure that you contain the amount. Like I said, जैसे कहावत है कि too many cooks spoil the broth, so too many photographers spoil the wedding as well. और अगेन लोगों की मिसकंसेप्शन है कि जी द बिग फाइट वेडिंग होगी तो पिक्चर्स बहुत अच्छी आएंगी. नो, दैट इज़ ऑपोजिट, एग्जैक्टली ऑपोजिट. जितना इंटीमेट इवेंट है, जितना छोटा इवेंट है, उतनी ही खूबसूरत पिक्चर्स है, उतनी ही इंटीमेट मोमेंट्स हैं. व्हेन यू हायरिंग अ स्टूडियो, मेक श्योर यू हायर समबडी who have an in-house team that is on their salary. Lots of time, these youngsters, they pool in, they get together and they hire photographers जिन्हें हम बोलते हैं shift के ऊपर. And what that means is that those freelancers, they work कभी किसी के लिए, कभी किसी के लिए. And they don't have a pressure on them to deliver as such. And I'll explain what I mean by that. If it's my guy who's on my payroll, he's going to cover an event, he's liable to me. In the morning, when I check the data, I'm going to ask him, where is this picture, or why are like pictures ऐसे क्यों है. He's liable to me because at the end of the month, उसने मुझसे salary लेनी है. But on the other hand, The shift guy is going to cover the event. He's going to dump the data to the photographer, the lead photographer, and then disappear after taking the payment. वो बाद में देखेगा कि यार ये तो ये नहीं है, क्लाइंट कहेगा मेरी ये पिक्चर नहीं है, ये पिक्चर नहीं है. So whenever you're hiring a photographer, make sure you ask them 2 questions. Do you have a process? How long does it take to deliver the albums and the video? It's not an open-ended assignment. Or do you have a whole process, the selection process? Do you take family pictures or just focus on the candidates? Or do you have in-house team or do you hire freelancers? And do you have the ability to modify the light? Do you bring light modifiers to the event? Do you bring a flash, external strobes? Because photography is all about light, and not being able to control light means that you don't have control over your pictures. So that's something very, very important. So one of the most important elements of wedding photography is the couple shoot. That is the only time when the couple feel like a rock star, feel like a superstar of their own movie. And that happens downstream from the makeup. I talked about it earlier as well, that you have to tell your makeup artist, a good vendor is the one who delivers the best quality work while following the timeline set by the client. When the makeup artists start working on a bride, they assume that they are creating art, and they tend to get carried away, and they can spend hours and hours perfecting the eyelash and the eye makeup while forgetting the fact that there's a photographer waiting for the bride at the venue with the sunlight going away, dipping really fast. Or brides are helpless because it's their big day and they're freaking out and they don't know what to do because nothing is in their hand. So when you're booking the makeup artist, you have to tell the makeup artist that this is the slot that I need to be done at. My shoot is at this time. I need to leave 30 minutes before that. A makeup artist or any vendor, make sure you talk about the timeline. When you're hiring a photographer, ask them, when are we going to get the deliverables? What are the deliverables? Is it soft copy? Is it the album? So I'll keep on sharing these little pointers time to time to make sure that you guys are able to stage a perfect wedding and a perfect marriage as well. These are really, really important. And after having covered hundreds and hundreds of weddings, we are in a very good position to guide you. And we'll keep on doing that to the best of our abilities. Stay tuned, guys.